spirit of the season, we'll warmly welcome you to Nationwide today. Thank you very much for joining us. We're reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. I am Ruth Aguela. We'll begin with matters of security. A crucial meeting of the National Security Council has ended in Abuja with a resolve by members to put an end to the menace of terrorism, insurgency and other heinous criminal activities in the country by the year 2020. Already, the council chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari has announced plans to begin tactical withdrawal of the nation's military from internal security operations. And to Legislative Affairs, Chairman Senate Committee on Media and Publicity, Senator Godiya Akwashiki, says the National Assembly building is in very bad shape and gradually collapsing. The Senate spokesman, while responding to plans to spend 37 billion naira on the renovation of the complex, explained that it is in urgent need of repairs after 20 years of use without any maintenance. He explained further that the National Assembly only approved the renovation request from the FCDA, which owns the complex and will also carry out the renovation.
The Assembly complex belongs to FCDA. The main responsibility of the FCDA, of the leadership of the Senate or House of Representatives, is to inform Mr. President that this structure is in the state of collapse. So, Mr. President, it is left from the President of the Executive now to tell the owners of the National Assembly complex to send their technical officers, the architecture, the building engineer, to find out which area and what attention they need in the National Assembly. How they count about the 37 billion is not the issue of the National Assembly, it's purely the issue of the FCDA. And let me tell the general public, it is the FCDA that are going to award the contract. And 10 kobo of this 37 billion is not coming to the National Assembly account. It's going straight to the FCDA.
Senator Godiya Akwashiki there speaking on the dilapidated state of the National Assembly House. Now let's move on to the social investment program of the federal government. The federal government has paid suppliers of foodstuff and cooks under the January 2020. This is to ensure that the feeding of 9.9 million pupils in the participating states and the FCT starts immediately schools resume in the next 2 weeks. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, announced this in Abuja, explaining that the funds were released in December to give the suppliers and cooks adequate time to procure and stock foodstuff to avoid excuses. The minister expresses federal government's appreciation of reports of improved pupils' hygiene and attendance in the schools and warns that the federal government would not accept any drop in the nutritional quality of the meals given to the children. Let's look at agric. The new cotton seed variety produced by a Nigerian agronomist has been proved to have potential for high-quality fibers suitable for textile materials. Let's hear from Musa Babali with all the details.
Salmanu Abdullahi is the current president of Genius Association and has been into the cotton business for more than 50 years. He says in those years, when cotton business was booming, Genialists were providing vacation jobs for most students in northern Nigeria. Sadly, he said, today only few Genialists are working.
We have about 54, and honestly speaking, just about 10, 12 that are functionally working now.
And why the remaining ones are not working?
Because of lack of the material to process.
Salmanu and other key players in the textile industry are of the view that the country will gradually move to her rightful place in the world of cotton business, believing that the new variety of cotton seeds produced by Nigerians will equally contribute largely to the federal government's textile policy and programs.
This field day will also serve to assess the excitement generated among cotton farmers on the seed performance, with yield potential of between 4.1 to 4.4 tons per hectare. This compared to what you get using the traditional varieties, which give you only between 250 to 750 kilograms per hectare.
Rose Gidado is one of the scientists that participated in the discovery of the seeds. She says the new variety produced close to 70 balls against 10 to 20 the old variety produces.
With this now, there will be access to quality seeds, improved and quality seeds, and then certified seeds. Of course, that is what the National Agriculture Seed Council has always been advocating for, that farmers should use improved seeds, quality seeds, and this is it. That seeds that can give you 100% germination rate, and seeds that are very viable, and seeds of course that have in them protection.
It is expected that farmers will have access to the new variety in 12 cotton producing states before next rainy season. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And from Agric, a bit of security here. The FCT Police Command has refuted the misleading message being circulated in the social media, claiming that bandits, kidnappers killed 4 persons at Kabi Mangoro of Pegi Axis. On the contrary, the FCT Police Command swiftly responded to a distress call on the 29th of December 2019 and arrested 2 suspected armed robbers at the robbery scene in Bogu village along Kabi Mangoro Road at Pegi. A statement by the FCT Police Command indicates that the police operatives attached to Pegi Division were instantly deployed to the scene, where they apprehended the 2 suspects and disarmed them. Unfortunately, 2 victims of the robbery were killed following deep machete wounds inflicted on them by the suspects. Efforts are in place to arrest one of the suspects still at large. The Commissioner of Police has launched a discreet investigation into the incident. The command urges residents to remain calm and reiterated its unwavering commitment to the protection of lives and property within the Federal Capital Territory. And to road matters, the Federal Road Safety Corps has embarked on equalizer tests on drivers at different commands in the country. Jabi Park was one of the parks visited. Let's join Oyeyemi Ajayi.
With activities embarked upon by the Federal Road Safety Corps to ensure each free movement of vehicles and people from different places. The Corps has deemed it fit to test drivers on the use of alcohol. This is the reason why the Corps is embarking on a nationwide test on drivers with alcoholizer. Chabi Park is just one of the parks in which this pilot scheme is embarked upon. Out of 5 drivers, 1 of them tested positive and others negative.
Well, it's a festive period, and one of the reasons for increase in crashes during this period has been attributed to drunkenness, and we do not want to take any stone unturned, and that is why we have deemed it fit to start to randomly test drivers with alcoholizer. The essence is that if you should test positive to the alcoholizer, you will not be allowed to drive.
With the continuation of this exercise, it is believed that many drivers might not be going home with any gains if found culpable of drinking while driving, as the driver that tests positive will not only be denied the journey, but might be disciplined.
What are you doing to check sales of alcohol?
We have our task force, just newly inaugurated, and the state secretary have given them the assignment. National Union have their bylaw. We know how to deal with our members.
From Jabi Park, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Thank you, Oyeyemi. And in a related development, earlier we had the sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FCT Command, Wobin Ayubagura, in our studio, where he expatiated on the FRSC's strategy to checkmate drunk driving on Nigerian roads and other safety issues.
Issues of alcohol or drugs is an issue, and it's one of those causative factors to crashes on our roads. And because of that, most of the times we go to the motor parks and some of these terminals or fleet operators to use breathalyzers or equalizers, as the case may be, on some of the drivers before they take off, knowing fully well what alcohol or drugs can cause. It doesn't give you a good judgment of what you see ahead of you. And because it doesn't give you that good judgment of what you see ahead of you, then of course there's the possibility of crash.
Follow-up integrity test to ascertain that flyover bridge is safe for motorists in order to prevent future occurrence?
Well, I would not be able to say there has been an integrity test, but we're going to contact the people concerned, the FCTA administration and Federal Ministry of Works. Let's see how they can carry out integrity, because anything that has to do with fire is bound to affect, any structure that has been put in place. And considering the impact of that heat of that vehicle, it tells people that that person was on very, very high speed. He was on high speed. And perhaps nobody can be able to say, since there was no survivor in that crash, to be able to tell us what really led him to that. It could also be that the vehicle has a misfunction.
So what you're saying is that the fire could have caused damage on the bridge, and
yeah, of course.
Okay.
And even the impact of the heat of the pillar of that bridge, since the vehicle was coming on speed, and for a vehicle to hit that pillar and then suddenly catch fire, it means that vehicle was on high speed. It can also cause destruction as well because of the impact. So I think that integrity tests, yes, need to be carried out so that people using that bridge will know that it is safe to pass under it or to pass on it.
All right, Sector Commander of the FRSC there, Wobin Ayubagura, speaking on the checkmating drunk driving around the country. All right, let's link up to Lagos, where Ruth is standing by to bring us more reports on Nationwide. I'm sure she knows why I'm laughing. Hello, namesake.
Hello, Ruth. Thank you for joining us in Lagos. Lagos, with an estimated population of about 21 million, recorded about 1,391 major disasters in the year 2019, with road accidents top on the casualty list. In this special report, Michael Olaleye takes a look at disaster and its management in 2019.
Between January to December 2019, about 1,061 incidents of fire outbreak were recorded, 15 building collapse, while 315 cases of road crashes were recorded.
The states experience more emergency and more disaster in 2019 when you compare to 2018.
Whether natural or man-made, disaster is a global phenomenon, and experts believe that swift response is key when such occurs.
Quick response is key to ensuring that we save lives and properties.
In the year under review, right-of-way to emergency scenes was identified as impediments to rescue operations.
When we are going to the scene of emergency, they will start attacking our men.
How then can this be addressed?
Changing the people orientation is the key.
We are also going to introduce technology. Our officers are out there monitoring, and we hope to be able to use drones to actually capture a few of these structures.
Some respondents did not hide their feelings as they commend the quick response to distress calls, although some share a different view.
Most times our responses to various occurrences, have been very, very slow.
For me, the response have been quite okay.
School that fell on the island, you can see the response was quite swift and it was immediate.
It is expected that with adequate training of personnel and public enlightenment campaign on necessary steps to take during disasters, the rate of casualties will reduce in the year 2020. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Religious tolerance, piety, and giving in the way of Allah have been identified as ways of ensuring an ending society. These views were stated at the commissioning ceremony of Oriwu Central Mosque in Ikorodu area of Lagos. Awal Yusuf Jibo has the report.
The act of Sadaqatul Jariyah in Islam means ongoing charity with endless rewards received by those who engage in the practice. Clerics at this gathering informed that the benefits of Sadaqatul Jariyah are not limited to this life, but also reaped in the hereafter. To be among benefactors of these bounties from Allah, Muslim faithful came together and contributed their quota to ensure the completion of Oriwu Central Mosque in Ikorodu area of Lagos.
Our religious fathers, are we allowing these young ones to come up? Because we can build all the roads, all the schools. If our children don't have that knowledge of Islam or Christianity, they are Christians, then everything is wasted.
For every one of us, we're so glad that this building has been commissioned in our lifetime, 30 years on, and we just also hope that as even the governor of Lagos State said here today, we should extend leadership, morality to our youth.
Other Islamic scholars expressed delight on the commissioning of the mosque while commending the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for his immense support. They urged Muslim faithful to continue to strive in the way of Allah.
If you see the magnitude, if you see the architectural piece, you know that Ikorodu will have masterpiece. And it shows that Ikorodu is so religious.
Nigerians were admonished to shun negativities of division and nurture the bonds of brotherhood as a way of ensuring sustainable development in the country. In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jibo, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja after this break. Stay with us.
They swore an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people. They traded their freedom, comfortable homes and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great, fearless, loyal and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, arise, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem with pride to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
It is indeed befitting to honor the memory of the gallant hearts of young men who paid the supreme sacrifice to keep the country united.
President Muhammadu Buhari enjoins all ministries, parastatals, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Launch. Send your donations to these accounts. Account name, Emblem Appeal Launch. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC.
As Nigerians count down to 2020, gains of 2019 in focus plus projections on NTA Tuesday Live this week. The program at 10:30 p.m. promises to be incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down. Do you have a job where you're going to?
No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad or even end up in prison.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
We have come to the end of another successful year, and we wish to appreciate all those that mean so much to us: our sponsors, our clients, government at all levels, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, and above all, you, our esteemed viewer. Together, we made 2019 great. Together, we shall make 2020 even greater. That is why we say thank you. This is wishing you Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Glad to know you're there. Floods and other forms of disaster have continued to ravage communities in Nigeria year in and year on. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has been proactive in mitigating the trend to bring succor to the victims over the years, and 2019 is not an exemption. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu examines the interventions by NEMA in the outgoing year.
About 30 out of the 36 states of the Federation were hit by floods in 2019, as predicted by Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, which resulted into loss of lives and property worth millions of naira. The worst hit states were those along the river banks, which included Kogi, Bayelsa, Benue, Adamawa, Niger, Rivers, Delta, Kebbi and Jigawa states. NEMA was on hand all through the year to ensure search and rescue, mitigation, as well as provision of relief materials to the victims. The amount expended in the management of disaster in the 2019 is far less from what was spent in 2018. This was due to high level of disaster experience in the year 2018. 224,892.56 hectares of farmlands were washed away, and 232,989 farmers were affected in the 2018 floods. Hence the injection of 33 billion naira by the federal government for the provision of agri-input to farmers and livestock to victims of herders farmers crisis to avert the looming food crisis as a result of the incident.
This distribution of inputs, or I can say incentive by the federal government, is a welcome idea.
The casualties figure in 2019 stands at 171, while 210,117 people were affected and 130,610 people were said to have been displaced. The 2018 number of casualties reached more than 200 persons. The interventions of NEMA was not restricted to Nigeria, as some African countries, Mozambique, Zimbabwe and Malawi, which were devastated by floods, where more than 2.6 million people were affected, received assistance from the federal government of Nigeria. $500,000 were donated each to the three affected countries, with 35 tons of essential drugs, vaccines and mosquito nets were donated.
A disaster anywhere, a calamity anywhere in Africa, we feel that also affects us in Nigeria. So this is the way that our President Muhammadu Buhari, felt that it was our duty to also intervene.
We got access to their needs, which we sent to medical supplies, essential medical supplies, and we come up with this quantity, about 30 tons of different medical drugs to really assist the victims.
All these efforts were complemented with regular training of staff on new approach to disaster management, from reactive to proactive, which is aimed at reducing the cost of providing relief materials to the victims. The organization is working hard to employ this new template in the year 2020. In Abuja, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
Thank you, Ilyasu. And in continuation of our sectoral reviews of the year 2019, let's join Mia Ogidi on how the Environment Ministry also fared.
Different environmental challenges beclouding Nigeria from different fronts, and Muhammad Mahmoud Abubakar and Sharon Ekiazo are the stabilizers being mandated to steer the ship of the Federal Ministry of Environment.
The whole country will want to do an environmental assessment of where are things happening. It's not just impact of oil, but we have places where we have severe erosion, deforestation, where you have desertification.
This clearly shows that the minister is aware of the challenges ahead. But first spotted in Ogoniland and later in Madrid, Spain, all aimed at stepping up to what science is telling the world about climate change and how Nigeria can meet up our nationally determined contributions to mitigate climate change. For instance, on the cleaning up of Ogoniland, remarkable achievements recorded in 2019 as more than 6 major lots remediated.
Whatsoever UNEP has laid down as guidelines and standards, that we are going to adhere strictly to those standards.
It is now, I'm seeing for myself, I've perceived also for myself that work is ongoing.
As the Nigerian landmass becoming more vulnerable to climate-induced disasters due to forest loss, President Muhammadu Buhari at the 74th United Nations General Assembly Conference on Climate Change promised the planting of 25 million trees every year. And the realization of this task took the ministers for a membership drive, as it were, on gender basis.
This planting of trees, we intend to bring everybody on board.
Environment is life. Life is environment.
We are going to do our best to ensure that we support the Ministry of Environment.
2020 is already a busy year for the Ministry of Environment.
25 million trees within the year 2020.
Urban waste management was also given a consideration in the Federal Ministry of Environment engagements. A waste recycling plant was inaugurated in Kefi, Nasarawa State. These major events are expected to still form a central part of the Federal Ministry of Environment's agenda for the year 2020. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
Sokoto State to guarantee 2 billion naira motorcycle loan to civil servants. When? Noura is in Sokoto for details of this and other stories. Hello Noura, compliments of the season.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Sokoto, compliments of the season. Sokoto State government has agreed to serve as guarantor to the state chapter of the Nigeria Labour Congress to secure a 2 billion naira motorcycles loan from a financial institution. The latter refers that this and other issues were considered by the last Executive Council meeting for their 2019 held at the Council Chamber, Sokoto. The report.
The state chapter of the NLC processed loan amounting to 2 billion naira with 22% interest to serve as motorcycle loan to 9,900 middle cadre civil servants in the state to be paid in 2 years through direct deductions from their salaries. The union presented the proposal to the state government seeking its agreement to stand as guarantor to the loan facility, which was considered during the Executive Council meeting. Also, the council approved the contracts amounting to over 1 billion naira. The contracts include the procurement of 118 transformers at the cost of over 578 million naira, procurement of 82 feeder pillars at the cost of over 73 million naira, and variation of the renovation of the State House of Assembly at the cost of over 398 million naira. The council also approved the constitution of a strong committee to revisit the poor electricity supply by the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company to consumers in the state. The 6-member committee is to be headed by the State Deputy Governor Munir Muhammad Daiya. The council also considered 2 executive bills that include a bill to repeal the Fiscal Responsibility Law 2004 and a bill to amend the State Revenue Consolidated Law in the state. In Sokoto, Dalatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Maria Aminu Waziri Tambol Development Initiative has pledged to collaborate with the relevant agencies toward the prosecution of perpetrators of violence against the girl child. This is coming as the Governor's Wife Pet Project organized orientation workshop for gender-based violence champions drawn from Binji and Sokoto North local government areas in Sokoto State. Show Muhammad Datti completes the story.
The orientation workshop brought together 92 gender-based violence champions from Binji and Sokotonos local governments. The aim is to educate them on how best to tackle gender-based violence at the grassroots. The participants are expected to actively assist in reporting gender-based violence cases to the appropriate authorities.
We intend to bring those people to book, those men that are violating the right of the girl child. Civil society organizations will be involved. A whole lot of key players, actors will be involved in ensuring that we curb the menace of gender-based violence in our society.
Leaders who describe gender-based violence as barbaric pledge to do all it takes to ensure that sexual abuse meted out on underage children are not swept under the carpet.
We are also assuring the human rights and other interested group that whomsoever caught, we will make sure that punished.
All girl child need to be allowed to be enrolled in school so that to complete our potentials.
Our speakers at the occasion call on everyone to do the needful in their domains to curb incidents of rape and other forms of gender-based violence. Among the gender-based violence activists are members of the Jama'at Nasrul Islam JNI, traditional and community leaders, as well as community health development volunteers. In Sokoto, Shu Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
A lack of synergy between the government and other relevant stakeholders has been identified as the major impediment to the actualization of sustainable development goals in Zamfara State. This forms the major submission by various speakers at the second Zamfara Town Hall meeting held in Gusau. Salamat Umar reports.
The 2019 second town hall meeting organized by the Zamfara Cycle Community Initiative featured paper presentations with the theme Beyond the Government, the Roles of Private Sectors, Civil Society and Citizens in the Attainment of SDGs in Zamfara State. Professor Bawa Hassan of Bayero University, Kano, and Professor Bayero Kazim Bukuyum of Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, presented papers on the subject matter.
This paper is trying to look at the impact of reforming the public service in order to achieve sustainable development goals.
Other speakers at the event described the topic as very timely and enjoined all stakeholders to play their respective roles efficiently for the development of the state.
And certainly, we have people who have got initiative, we have people who are enterprising, and by the time we give them direction, we shall get very good development for our state. This kind of conversation and interaction will help in forging understanding between the citizens, the government, and civil society groups.
We discussed and evaluated the challenges, and suggestions and solutions were proffered.
A communique is expected to be issued on the major resolutions at the end of the meeting and the next line of action. From Gusau, Salamat Umar Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Sokoto. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Noura, and welcome back to Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the Pioneer General Secretary of the Anglican Communion, Reverend Joseph Akinyele Omoyajowo, as he turns 85 on December 31st, 2019. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the President salutes the commitment, hard work and doggedness of Omoyajowo through many milestones in life, including being a trained teacher, a graduate of religious studies at the University of Ibadan, a lecturer in the same institution, and ultimately a professor at the then University of Ife, which is now Obafemi Awolowo University. The President wishes the retired cleric and university don good health, sound mind, and continued strength to be of further service to God and humanity. In other news, Oyo State government gets set for the 2020 fiscal year. Let's join Larry in Ibadan for more on Nationwide. Hello, Larry. It's good to see you.
Good afternoon and welcome to Ibadan. As Nigerians prepare for the new year, the Federal Road Safety Corps has stepped up their game to ensure road traffic rules are obeyed. Lanre Bilei went round town to have on-the-spot assessment of compliance by motorists.
It's the festive season and the roads are busy.
Amongst this congestion is the officers and men of the Federal Road Safety Corps, making sure traffic rules are followed. Despite that, some motorists still take risk to cut corners and run foul of the rules. One of the ways the Corps uses to drive the message home to road users that traffic rules must be followed is through mobile courts, which gives instant judgment to traffic rules offenders.
It is also for people to know that some of these infractions that they commit, they could actually be jailed. So they appear before the court, and then the magistrate listens to them and dispense justice.
38 persons have been apprehended and taken to the mobile court. 33 persons were found guilty of various offences and were fined, while 2 were acquitted. The offences tried at the mobile court range from bad driver's license or no driver's license and other road traffic offences. And the Federal Road Safety Court says that they are going to continue with this method till the new year. In Ibadan, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
Business activities appear to be low few days after Christmas. Some workers have returned to work while others are traveling within and outside Ibadan in preparation for the new year. Rofia Animashaun Badmos has a situation report of markets and motor parks within Ibadan metropolis.
Before the celebration of Christmas, buyers were complaining over hike in prices of goods, including foodstuff, vegetables, livestock, and clothing. 5 days after Christmas celebration, markets in Ibadan, Oyo State capital, were seen scanty. Here with me is Mrs. Latifat Agbomabiwon.
Not sure, there's no market. People are not coming out. We came yesterday, nothing.
Comparing to other festive seasons, especially this time, things are high, they are very high.
Mr. Timothy Adebola is a regular passenger here at Agodi Motor Park. What's your opinion about the transport fare here in Agodi Motor Park?
I just arrived from Ekiti State now. While I was going, the difference was just 200 to what it was before. And even while as I came back this afternoon, it's still the same the amount I used to carry from Ekiti, so down to Ibadan.
The transport fare now is a little bit up. So before, I think it's 2,000 naira 200, but now it's 2,500 from Ibadan to Ondo State.
It appears generally that things are calm. Prices of goods and transportation seem affordable. Residents of Ibadan are hopeful that year 2020 would be better off in Ibadan. Rofia Animashaun Badmos, NTA News.
And that is all from Ibadan Network Center. Rest of Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Many thanks, Larry. Now, let's take you back to the story we called at the start of the bulletin on the Security Council meeting being chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. We have that story ready for you, so let's join Adam Musambo with details.
With President Muhammadu Buhari presiding, the National Security Council meeting, which lasted about 4 hours, was held behind closed doors. In attendance were the Minister of Defense, the National Security Advisor, Service Chiefs, and the Inspector General of Police, Chief of Defense Intelligence, Director General of the Department of State Services, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Participants critically appraised Nigeria's security profile in the year 2019, with particular emphasis on the ongoing operations within the country and across the sub-region.
It was generally agreed and noted that the security agencies have done their very best in ensuring that the deliverables are made clear. Just 2 weeks back, we have had over 27 attacks by Boko Haram and ISWAP in the northeast alone. And our gallant troops out there were able to repel these attacks and even take out some of their commanders. It is our wish to have the insurgency and terrorism issues resolved once and for all, to enable us focus on matters of development.
At the meeting, President Muhammadu Buhari appreciated the military and other security services for the improved security situation across Nigeria, saying, however, that a lot still needs to be done towards guaranteeing sustainable peace and development.
Mr. President has directed that the Council and the members of armed forces ensure a peaceful society in 2020, and to that effect, we are more than determined to continue from where we stopped in 2019 and to ensure that we sustain our various operations to ensure a secure Nigeria for all of us.
Meanwhile, the National Security Council has resolved to ensure tactical withdrawal and replacement of the military with the Nigeria police personnel from internal security operations across the country.
For those areas that we believe the military has been able to achieve the desired objectives, that in the first quarter of next year, the civil authority will be preparing to take back those responsibilities as the military draws back on its forces in those areas to enable it focus its attention on other emerging threats and areas of concern. The nation is procuring equipment for the military. It therefore means that rather than have boots on ground, we're looking at technology-backed surveillance that will enable the military to react more efficiently and effectively. And with that, it is also believed that Nigerian police will take the lead in containing the security in such areas that must have been assessed to be in their right place to sustain.
The National Security Council meeting was the last for the year 2019. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And away from security, feedback on NTA's migration to Naj Kamsat. I'm sure you're eager to know all about it. Suleiman will tell us all about it. Let's join him in Kaduna. Hello, Suleiman.
Welcome to Kaduna. The Nigerian Television Authority is making a headway in strengthening its lead in the broadcast industry in Africa with the recent migration from US-based Intelsat to the homemade NACOMSAT platform with a view to enhancing its operations. This resolve by NTA management to complement the federal government's local content drive is receiving accolade as the development has since improved reception of NTA signal. Ibrahim Sani has a situation report from Jigawa State.
With the latest development, all NTA space segments, including satellites, tracking, elementary command, control, monitoring, and related facilities and equipment required to support the operations of the satellite, will now be domiciled in Nigeria. Prior to the recent development, NTA relied on the US-based Intelsat space segment for the transmission of its signal.
The migration really impacted knowledge on us, because any time when you are working, you gather some knowledge. There are some little changes in the course of the migrations, but we have done it well and successful.
Victor, who led a team of engineers for the migration work in NTA DEC, says NTA, which is the largest television network in Africa, will now conserve revenue and fulfill the goal of local content in the broadcasting industry.
The signal strength is, now we are in a digital era, the signal strength is very good, effective, and at least our viewers will enjoy our programs.
Greater improvement compared with before. The signal are very crystal clear, so we really appreciate the efforts. The signal strength is impressive. NTA has over 100 stations with over 90 million viewers. The development signals NTA's readiness and commitment towards transition from the analog to digital television as obtained in other parts of the world. 31st December 2019 is the deadline for the migration. In Duse, Ibrahim Sani, NTA News.
More than 32,000 public school teachers in Katsina State are undergoing train-the-trainer program on digital application to achieve optimal results in the provision of qualitative education in the state. Shehu Adamu reports.
two-day trainer on digital application for teachers from across Katsina State is aimed at encouraging public school teachers to make good use of e-library system in conducting research.
So it is only when they do that, at the end of it, they will go and teach others at the various centers designated for this program.
Resource persons at the training emphasized the importance of e-library in modern educational system around the globe. The training conducted through collaborative efforts between Katsina State Government and Pleasant Library and Book Club Katsina is to complement the effort of the state government in the training of teachers for better education standard.
We're training Katsina State teachers to be qualitative, to have the necessary skills to impart knowledge on their pupils and students.
Participants expressed gratitude to Katsina State Government for giving education the desired attention and pledged to make use of the knowledge acquired. The trained teachers are expected to train their subordinates at their respective zonal education centers. In Katsina, Shehu Adamu, NTA News.
The ongoing training and retraining of personnel by the Nigerian Air Force is a deliberate policy strategy to entrench professionalism among officers and men to enable them to deal with contemporary security challenges bedeviling the country. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, stated this in a message to the graduation of participants from sundry courses at the Nigerian Air Force Base Mando Kaduna. Amina Saidu reports.
256 officers, airmen and women graduated in 11 courses, 7 from Military Training Center and 4 from Air Police. Representing the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, Chief of Administrations, Air Vice Marshal Kingsley La, urged the graduates to be innovative in applying the knowledge acquired for the effective discharge of their duties.
You cannot separate professionalism from ability. And when I talk of ability, I'm talking about the quality of training, the quality of instruction, the capacity that the individual has.
The training is to inculcate in officers, airmen and women the skills and requisite knowledge that will enable them perform optimally in their assigned tasks. In Kaduna, Amina Saidu, NTA News.
And with that report is back to you, Ruth, in Abuja for more on the Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Suleiman. Let's take a break. We'll be back shortly, so stay tuned.
My name is Giato Adeza Adams, the General Manager, Corporate and Strategic Communications, Nigerian Port Authority. As regards the land borders closure, available statistical data from APMT, which is one of our terminal operators that is involved in container handling terminal, has recorded an increase of 200 TEUs of cargoes into their terminal as a result of cargo diversion from the vessels originally meant for neighboring countries. That shows you that the terminal operators is going to have an increase in revenue, which is accrued to the terminal, and at the same time, Nigerian Port Authority will equally benefit from the revenue increase. So that is the benefit we have derived from the border closure.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA. Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first. Get it fresh.
Thanks for staying tuned. In the spirit of the season, the Minister of Women Affairs went around Abuja City to show love to internally displaced persons and orphans. The visit is also to give them a projection into areas of priority come 2020. Mamso Demendati reports.
It's a Sunday, the last in the year 2019, and even this decade, regardless of the complacency and lull that characterized government functions during this period, the Ministry of Women Affairs is not deterred in their resolve to touch the lives of destitutes. So in their numbers, officials of the ministry set out for the IDP camp. The first point of call was the Malaysian Gardens community, Apo. The visit provided a platform for a heart-to-heart talk with the minister. Many issues were raised. Among them, no school, no healthcare facilities. These, in addition to skills empowerment, are now to be included on the minister's exclusive actionable list. Next on the roll call is IDP camp in Wasa, a satellite community with its own peculiar challenges. Here, however, the minister took out time to visit individual homes to have a first-hand experience of the quality of lives. It's not so pleasant, she says. Area of priority that must be addressed too.
Our problem is scholarship. If you can solve all our problem now, we will be happy.
Then the train changes direction to an orphanage, and it's Mother Teresa's Children's Home in Gwerimpa, a joyous and pleasant experience for the family.
Almost 4 years now since we lost our mother, and we thank God, we're still standing. It's added a lot. It showed us that, our work doesn't go unrecognized.
I feel happy and excited.
But here comes the final stop, Heritage Orphanage, where the children also enjoyed a good time, receiving lots of hugs, care and gifts to go with.
It shows we still have people that know we are into existence and they care about us.
For the IDPs, you saw how moved I was. It was really emotional, and the deplorable condition of where they were living, and most of them, they don't have water, they don't have light. The health of most of the children was not good enough. It's not just for this Christmas season alone. We will try to check on them and to know what's happening with the children, because the child belongs to all.
Experience gathered from the visit, the minister says, will guide them on areas to focus on in 2020. In Abuja, Momso Damien Ati, NTA News.
Thank you, Momso. What a way to end the year. Let's talk sports. Our review of sports in the outgoing year continues on Sports Update with Kene Ima Abudike.